All right, good morning YouTube. How you doing? Today this unit failed inspection because of the liquid type on the disconnect box. So we are going to replace our disconnect box, okay, which is pretty much broken. The one that's going to the bird cage to the disconnect box, and from the disconnect box to the unit. Pretty simple, to be honest with you, but if you don't know, this is a good instructional video on how to do it. I don't recommend you doing it if you're not an electrician, or if you're not a certified electrician, or if you don't have any formal training, so you don't go on and sue me or get hurt. Worst. So that's all it is. So we're gonna go ahead and inspect. Failed inspection because of this, and it's pretty brittle. You can actually hear it. It just breaks. Super brittle. Old wires. We're gonna replace the wires as well, just because they were out and the inspector said to replace them. All right, so we'll continue this video in a few minutes. You're gonna come to the bird cage. You're gonna take out a couple of screws here on either side of the box, and then you're gonna take off the top. You're gonna take out the 4 screws that are here. This one had a little trouble, so I had to get my needle nose plier on it, take it out, get some new screws on there, and then we are going to replace all these wires. Well, just the ones for our unit. Be very careful. I definitely do not recommend you doing this, because these wires are live, except my wire. These are not live, and you got to trace that back. But other than that, all the other wires are live, so I definitely don't recommend you doing it without proper training. Got the Veto pack. It's actually a good backpack, and I'll close out the video a little later. All right, so first step is you're gonna go ahead and pull out the wires that you are working with. Be very careful again. This is hot. All the other wires are hot. And the ground, identify those wires. Then I'm going to go ahead and unscrew the locking cap back here. Let me see if we can see it. That one right there. Let it go out. And then you're going to unscrew yours. Actually goes out pretty easy. All right. You can actually cut the wires if you want, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut those wires just so that I can keep the wires on it until I need to connect power, and then pull out the disconnect. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my dikes. Again, just for safety. Just for safety, I want you to go ahead and make sure that these are not hot. Take a look at it, and that's where you're gonna cut. You got a little blue light right there. You probably can't see it. All right. You can tell the other ones are hot. Because you can see that red. There's no red on here, but there is on here. So we know it. Obviously the ground doesn't have any power whatsoever, but just confirm it. And now we can cut the wires. Sorry I'm moving this around so much, but you got your red. Oh. Horrible editing. Alright, so we can keep those two to the side. Your ground. So now you can pull out doing this with one hand, so a little bit difficult, or more difficult. If you have a new one, you can use the new one, but frankly, I could just reuse the same connection. I'll set that aside, and then what we're going to do is we're going to trace it all the way back, disconnect all this, and replace everything with a new one. Alright, continuing on, then you're just going to open up your disconnect. If you want, you can actually just, that can't work. Let me see if I can set this up here. The veto, no. So you could just wiggle this out. I'll be right back with you. Just wiggle it out, that comes off, and you'll have better access. So that wiggles out from the right to left. Pull your disconnect. You have no power going to it anyway. Now you can go ahead and you can actually just cut these wires if you want. Or just take the whole box out. I didn't do a good job here. Take out your disconnect, and you're all good to go. Everything else just plug and play. Alright, after you take your disconnect box out, take all your wires, pull everything out. There's the old wire, 10AWG. Then you're going to grab your new disconnect, and you want to make sure that you punch the holes before you actually put the disconnect. So before you actually put it on there and get everything there, make sure you punch those holes. Another thing that you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and open up your panel. And after you open up your panel, you're going to go ahead and just undo the little nut down there. Alright, you're going to unscrew it. So you're going to be taking that out, putting new wires as per the inspector, which I don't think you needed new wires, but it doesn't matter. Alright, you're going to take out these two here. Alright, make sure the power is out downstairs, because even though there may be no power up here, if that contactor is engaged, you will have some power going to it. And you know, 24 volts is not a big deal, but to some people it is. So make sure that all power is out before you begin working on this. Okay, so we're going to take out these two bolts. We're going to take this out, take the other whip, and we're going to put the new one. All right, I wanted to point something out here. So when you tie wires together, I want you to make sure that you use the proper tools and you grab it. And if you notice here how this wire is intertwined here, it goes in circles, and here it goes, so that way, even if this comes loose, even if the wire nut comes loose for whatever reason, which is never should, this wire doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't disconnect itself. So unlike the person who installed this, they should have just put the wires around it. If you can see it, the difference, because if this ever comes loose later, they don't get disconnected, and there's not a callback on this installation. All right, once you're done, you want to make sure, give them a good tug. All right, and then you put your top back on, and you are good to go. And then there's your top. You're good to go. And then I cut the whip a little bit. It was 6 feet, but I cut it enough so I can have a little slack. And then I can also put my box here. Make sure to punch out your hole before you get it on there. Same for the bottom. I haven't done that yet. All right, after we closed our panel, we're gonna come. I chose to go behind it just because of the way it looked. I could have done it over it, but I chose to go behind it. I think it's okay there. Come around here, connect it, liquid tight connector. We are good to go here. And then over here you make sure that it goes to the load, because this, the condenser, is the load for this disconnect. The line in will be the one coming in from the bird cage. Alright, people of YouTube, so your liquid tight comes from here, goes to your ground, and it goes to line in and line in, and the other one, as I already explained, to the load. All right, make sure you put your disconnect box properly. It's in there. Then we're gonna seal her up. All right, she's now sealed. We can close that box. We got the 203 label. Make sure you are locked up. And you're gonna run the wire. What you had to do before was basically connect your wires to the proper place where you took them off before. Get your box, your rubber seal, seal it back up, and then put the bird cage back in. So you're gonna go ahead and seal up your box like we just talked about. I'll do a little extra tightening on there. And then you're going to put your top. Alright, when you're done, you're good to go. Make sure that you don't have any trash around the area. I don't like to leave any trash, so brand new liquid tight. Come around, make sure you just keep your trash neatly piled up, nothing else around the area. Oh, and mark your unit, that's all. Even though it's already marked like I showed you before, I just like to do it extra because the paint, that rusts off with time, and just, it's a paint marker. It just kind of doubles up. Alright, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't have a lot of videos, but I'm going to try to put up more in the future. The more I do, you can hit like, you can follow if you like. It'd be nice if you can. If not, just the like button would be nice. And comment. There's a million ways to do it, but you can comment. Maybe show me a better way or tell me how you do it. And we'll talk about it. Alright, thanks. And finally, video of everything working properly. Warm air. We're good.